We are Greg and Leah, the host of Evolve, the #1 podcast about relationships, and not just the tender or toxic romantic ones, but all kinds of relationships with many people, places, and paths.
And we aren't here because we know or understand it all, simply because we are working to evolve and asking others to join the evolution.
So join us in this next episode of Evolve!
So this episode you're about to hear was not planned, not scripted, which, I have to be honest, not a lot of them are. And we just wing it. We have fun. We talk about what's on our hearts, our minds, our souls. What are we trying to evolve through? So this one was very early morning. You'll hear it in my voice, that raspy, first time you use your voice sound. But I really, truly, we both hope that what you hear can help you with some of your possible blocks in life.
I don't even, maybe for, I guess you were awake most of the night. You kept holding me.
I was semi-awake, but in the middle of the night or something, I grabbed the water bottle by my bed and took a drink. And I don't know if I was really awake or not awake, part awake at the time, or maybe I was thinking about stuff. And as easily as I can grab water, it's there. I'm thirsty a lot, as you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what created or when this thirst started. Just always feeling very, physically thirsty.
Since I have known you, one of your most common phrases is, I need a drink. I need a drink. I always thought,
you meant alcohol?
If you really knew what I hear sometimes, I need a drink. But I know it's always been water.
So yeah, I don't know what started it, when it started, just
it's been
thirsty.
Before me.
And I'm sure there's a psychological, mental reason, or not mental.
Sure, sign.
No,
water sign.
I'm not a water sign, actually. My symbol is water for Aquarius, but it's actually an air sign.
Okay.
So anyways, I reached over and grabbed my drink, and I guess I was thinking about money and the comment I said to you, raise, and I've been saying that a lot lately, and I was like, okay, these two go together, don't they? Always thirsty, you're always wanting, and money is like water. We use the word currency, we use the word cash flow, and we've talked about this before and stuff, but I went to grab the water, took a drink, it refreshed me. And I heard probably my higher self say, there's always water. There's plenty of water. How many times when you're thirsty have you been able to just go? I'm pointing out there now, but I can fill up my water bottle anytime. I never question turning on the sink and not having water. We're blessed enough to live in a country and in a state and in a city and that has access to water every second. We flush our toilet. We put water with our shit. Where countries who don't have any water would never waste water that way. Right. We brush our teeth and it goes down the sink.
We call it wastewater.
We call it wastewater. And just how much water I have access to for where I was born, who I was born as, all these privileges, so to speak. And that was cool. So I went back to sleep and I was like, oh, good point. Wow, yeah. But then this morning I got up and I was going to journal about the water thing. And I was like, let me put on a Reiki meditation. And one of the ones that came up was to heal a block, which I've shared that one with you before, about healing a block and where do you feel it, in your body? What shape is it? What texture? And I was like, I don't want to do that. I'm just not going to do that. And then I realized I started doing everything opposite of what she said. So it was a guided meditation. And in the guided meditation, after she has you visualize where the block, if it was in your body, where it might be felt, I was like, I don't know, probably my whole body. I don't know. I'm not doing that. And she has you start walking a path, and a fork in the road comes to the path, and she says, and you're going to go right. I was like, nope, I'm going to go left. And on the right was this hill with flowers. And last time I did this meditation, I did everything the way she did. And I shared with you that whole story. And it was the same thing of the root chakra block, remember? And it was safety and security and all those things that are a struggle for me and from my past and still a little bit in the current present. But this time I was like, I'm not going up the hill and laying down on the hill in the flowers. I'm going to go left. So I, in my head, made everything opposite of what she said. So if there's a hill, then left is a valley.
Right.
If there's flowers and grass that's soft to lay on, what would be the opposite?
Rocks and sand.
Rocks and yuck. If it's warm, what would be the opposite?
Cold
And snow. And if it's bright, what would be the opposite? Dark. Or gray. Like when it's snowing, it's gray. And I found myself in this, I'll say pit. And then she doesn't talk anymore, because essentially if you were on the right side, you'd be laying down, and she said, and just let it guide you and see what happens and have your own healing experience. So as I'm in this pit, like I start getting wrapped with like cables or coils from the bottom up, and they just start like digging in, and then they start like grabbing my heart, and then they grab my throat. And I knew what all of it meant was this lack position, this mentality wraps you up, and then it gets into your heart. Like that's truly what you believe. Right. And then it gets here in your throat chakra and stuff. That's what you start saying.
Yeah.
And I've been saying a lot to you, like, you need to ask for a raise. You need to get more. You're worth more, blah, 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 and now with me not working, like I'm trying to be like, the universe will provide, but also I'm skeptical of just not being, I don't want to be that person we were a long time ago. Those people that were just like, oh, we know how we should make money, but we're just going to stand in here and just faith is going to bring it.
Yeah.
So like, I want to be balanced and logical, but also led. And so all this stuff is wrapping around my neck and stuff. And I look over, because you can see, or at least in my vision, you can see the other side, the people over there. And the people I chose to see, I guess, were all smiling and happy and content. And it made me angry. It made me jealous, which jealousy is anger, which roots down to fear, which is insecurity, and, all these ugly things. And I was cold and miserable and trapped. Like you don't feel like you can get out because it feels like bondage. So I asked myself, like inside, like, how would I even get over there? Like, and in the meditation, there is a part of time where she says, before she goes quiet, she says, you're laying on the ground and you're looking up, and and that was part of it too, is like, I did the opposite before she stopped talking. Like, when you're on the flower side, you look up. So I was like, I'm looking down. And then for her side, the side that you're supposed to be in, a light from heaven comes down and starts working on that block, wherever it was in your body. So that's when that darkness started finding me from the bottom up. So like, as above, so below, I guess you could say, is this dichotomy, if that's the right word. I love that word, but I gotta make sure I'm using it right. And so this light that's happening to others on the other side who are smiling, or I see one person, I'm not going to say others yet, but I see this person smiling, which in my other time I did this meditation, that was me. So I'm like, how do I even get over there? So this actual light that's coming down from the sky starts shifting over to this side, to this valley, this pit. But it doesn't come all the way into the pit. It's kind of in between. And it just starts talking. Like out of it, I can hear all this instruction. And I'm like trying to ask, like, how do I get over there? And it just says back, like, it's a choice. Everything you do is a choice. You chose to take this way. You chose to let this wrap around you. You chose for it to get into your heart, to come out of your throat.
You have to go back to the fork.
So, and that was like great questions, kind of all the questions I kept asking, and like it just kept instructing stuff with, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be here anymore. Like it asks, do you like this? I'm like, no, I'm cold, and like the stuff wrapped around me hurts. Like I don't want to be. And that's where it just instructs, and it's super neutral, but like super pure. And it just kind of keeps questioning my questions. Why do you want to feel this? What do you want to do? And pointing back to the power of my own choice.
So you're the AI of it.
Yeah.
Do you want to be?
Yeah. And so like it starts just talking about that, the power of choice, and how, and I'm like, well, how does this is wrapped around pretty good? How do I undo that? And what I realized started happening is, as this light, this perfectness is talking, I look down and there is nothing else around me. And I said, how did that get off? And the light, this purity, just says, because your heart started changing. Your heart started wanting something else. Your heart started choosing before your head did. Mm-hmm. So all this is gone. And I was like, I still couldn't really move. And I start looking over at the other side where I'm like, okay, well, I guess if this is bad, I want to be in good.
Right.
And it says, well, look over again. You only looked at the smiling people. And I look over again, and there's a lot of people crying. There's a lot of people convulsing. There's a lot of people stiff. There's light healing them, but they're going through stuff to like get healed. And she's like, I say she, because that's just how the voice sounded in my head, I guess. But like saying like, it's not what, there's a lot of process here. And I start like understanding, what healing and recovery looks like, and I need some more water. And I start to climb out of the pit, and it's kind of like that Matrix moment where it's like, why are my legs hurting so bad? Why is everything hurting? And it's because you stood somewhere so long. If you lay or stand, how you cramp, and something's also been wrapped around you. And then, like, I realize I'm really dirty, like filthy. Where everyone on the other side, I'm in all this full-on a lot of clothes. I'm also just dark and dirty, and they're, like, in shorts and T-shirts in the summer. It's a complete, opposite. And, like, I realized that, like, all this dirt, like, I'm crying, and the dirt is leaving streaks and cleaning it. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm all wet. And I ask, I don't even know what's my tears or like what's rain or something here. And I love this answer back, because like this energy, this entity says all of it is your tears. Like every emotion, everything you didn't express, everything you ever stuffed has been stored waiting for you to heal so that it could wash you. Because going back to water, like water to me is a big deal. I think I've shared with you even months and last year, how water was going to be part of my healing and stuff. And like, I'm just drenched, but also cleaned. And by the time that the meditation, it was only like 20 minutes long or something of this guided meditation, ended or started wrapping up, like I knew, like you don't get over to the other side immediately. It is all, and as this like starts wrapping up, and the entity kind of is like, I'm heading out. We're wrapping up here kind of thing. And I was like, but what do I do? And they said, you just choose every time, every step. What direction do you want to be in?
Taking a break here for a second from the story, maybe you can relate. Maybe you've felt stuck, wrapped, trapped, spinning your wheels, but not really moving forward. Well, that's where I come in. Hi, I'm Leah, who you already know. And I know you know I run this podcast and co-host it, but did you also know I'm a life coach? I help people identify what's holding them back, whether it's fear, self-doubt, or just plain overwhelm. Or if it's like me, in the story I'm sharing here, where we've just made bad choices and drilling into those choices, figuring out what's behind them. So together, we can create a way forward that feels exciting and aligned so that you can step into the life that you want with confidence and purpose. If that sounds like something you would love to do, go check out myslc.org, click connect, and let's see what's possible.
So what position do you want to be in?
Wait for the next fork. So there's going to be another fork.
No, there's no forks necessarily. It's just this constant choice of, like, I saw it as you can choose to be in the dark, the negative, the bound, or you can choose to be in the healing. And then I said, like, but how do I be you? Like, this light came from the other side to come to me or anyone else. Like, I kind of saw that it would be there for anyone. It would talk to everyone. And, like, it doesn't have an agenda to only be with the positive people.
Right.
That I wanted to be it. And I love the answer. It says, you are me. I am you. You are those people over there. We are all the same with the small differences of a choice that we make here or there. But you need to go there and, like, heal and, like, let all this stuff flush out. And I said, well, how will I know when I'm ready to be you?
That is an awesome epiphany. The only thing that separates you and me is a choice.
It's choices, yeah.
We all are one, but choices are what separates us.
And so it ended with, like I said, it ended when it said just it's one choice after a time. But I said, well, how will I know when I am ready to be you? And it was the same answer as what happened with all the stuff, the bondages coming off of me was like, you won't know was kind of the answer. You will just look back at a certain point and be like, I don't,
Right.
I have complete trust. I have complete contentment. I have complete confidence in source and being provided for in this specific issue. Like, let me just say it that way. Like, but it's not like a gate you pass through that you give your ticket and say, hey, I've got it to this level. It's like you don't even know sometimes. How many times have we conquered something and then only months or years later do we look back and we're like, that hasn't bothered me in a long time.
Yeah.
So it's not like a knowing in your head, but it is something that happens in your soul that there's that click, but it doesn't always get to your head until a little bit longer.
Well, you're taking baby steps when it comes to the finances. We've gone from analyzing every cup of coffee and where it was spent and what day and time it was spent to now, where do you want to put this $100 this week? I mean, that's really...
Well, no, now, like you said, analyzing and figuring and putting every cent everywhere to, I don't even know what the budget is. We don't even run by a budget anymore.
I know.
So
And some people could think,
like,
this is completely abnormal for you and I. I mean, well, for you.
Yeah, for me. Not you at all, but I realized the last several...
So it's you that's been slowing me down all this freaking time.
I think I'm pretty sure you have your own choice.
You think that you've saved my ass.
I know you have your own choice.
I know,
but,
just playing with you. Scratch yours.
You know, with the way I've been talking lately, it's coming out of fear and insecurity and panic and also from anger of like, I want people to see and appreciate you. I don't want you taken advantage of. So none of it's coming from a place of the root chakra being safe,
right,
secure, confident, and like any of these things. It's all coming from that old space. So
it's like we use our power and then we forget we have it.
And that's
you had to
why...
remind me yesterday or the day before. Why don't you you've already chased out chased out is probably...
Right. Change. You've made changes that you want in your life.
Changes. Why are you not continuing? What happened? What did you get punched in the guts or the ducks?
Right.
That you've backed off from that? And I think it's just sometimes you just need a break of reality or rest to figure something out.
I don't know. I think next time, or I'll meditate on that myself, of just what makes us go backwards when we are making such good progress. Because I'm pretty proud of myself financially in that realm so far of like being in a state of mind where it's like, oh, we're going to go out to eat again after, we've been out 10 times and we're probably up to $100. I'm like, if it's what we want to do, then it's what we're going to do right now.
One thing is vibration gets absorbed. So if you surrounded yourself in an environment that has
negative anger, jealous vibes,
and whatever, there is the
true.
There's the pullback. It's like, no, shake it off, and I gotta get.
And you have to make the choice to shake it off. And if you're not consciously making the choice, just like how I asked the question in this vision, like, to how do I get there, and then how do I be you? It's one choice at a time, but also you might not recognize the choice when you're making it until you look back, positive or negative. Right. You could be in the pit again, wrapped up, and be like, wait a minute, how did I get back here? I was so far ahead.
The setback, though, is really a lesson, because now I was just thinking, I spent the winter last year cleaning bathrooms.
Right.
Yet I can't remember much of that because I spent the winter last year in my glory. I had and I did it on purpose. I wore every jewelry.
Oh, like while you were working?
I dressed up the part. I didn't come to work in flip-flops and because I wanted to feel good. Because you're
dressed for success.
Exactly. And
success. That's not a word.
Success. Incest.
No.
And once I've started doing the same thing here, again, coming in and every character has a costume they got to put
again
on.
You're just really boiling what you're saying down to choosing, and it's just,
and even if, as Rush says, and even if you didn't make a choice, you still made a choice.
Rush, the music band.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's true, not making a choice is making a choice.
Their song, I think it's called Gilded Cage. All the world's a cage, and we are merely players. This is something that they repeat.
I thought it was stage, not cage.
All the world is a stage, and we are merely players, performers and portrayers, each another's audience inside a gilded cage.
Well, and it's funny you're saying gilded cage, because I think who was it? Oh, Rebecca, when we were talking, and it's probably in one of the podcasts.
I don't even know.
Gilded, so it's a coating, like golden plated or that kind of thing.
Oh, so you're in a
but that's why I was saying, like,
a royal cage.
Yeah, like you've created this to look nice. I mean, it looks nice, so you'll stay here.
But that was actually, I think, a quote of.
I'm sure it was a poet or somebody, and then they took it, made it a song.
It's a popular. Romeo and Juliet. Who wrote those?
Oh, Shakespeare.
I think it was but some people even say Shakespeare. The Shakespeare never even existed. There was no such thing as a Shakespeare.
But like I was saying on the podcast, probably the next one I need to edit with Rebecca and her story, I had mentioned that about when I was blogging, and one of my blogs was the painted prison.
Right.
It's that same idea, gilded cage. It's something that someone, but usually yourself. No one can paint that cage, gild that cage, paint that prison, but you. And when I say that, because someone could say, like, that's not true, like, society paints this image, but I can choose to agree with society. I can choose to, as you just said, absorb that vibration and attune to it. Or I can say, no, I don't want to be any of that.
Well, the story of the children of Israel leaving their bondage and breaking free. We know by reading Enoch that many of those people said, fuck you, I'm not going with you guys, but they still left. Or they never even went to the bondage anyway. Because... And
the story, you can back it up a little further and further. Some people never went into Egypt to go into bondage.
No one ever...
Some people who went to Egypt didn't leave when Moses said, let's go, because they're like, hey, what we know here is better than what we don't know out there. At least here we have food.
There was always somebody outside the camp that was living a life that had nothing to do with the programming in here. Because
I think you made it, going back to your point, though, I think you made a good point of, because my question was, I don't know, I was doing so good, like, and even in the midst of this, me being like, hey, listen, we're just going to do what we want to do, and there's going to be provision. I'm sorry, let me say that again. Even in the midst of my negative stuff, like, hey, you deserve, and we need to have, stand up for yourself, there's been positive in my...
Injustice-seeking kind of a person. So the injustice hit, and then you need to, in order to level the injustice, some type of financial... And I think that's where you...
If you're going to struggle, you need to be financially compensated.
And it's true... But not every struggle needs to be yelling for financial increase, and that's the thing.
But I think that's just my answer, because that's my issue.
Some of the things that you also have said to me is, this is not my source of wealth.
And I know that. That's what I'm saying. In the same space, at the same time, I can have a thought in my heart, and I can have a thought in my head.
Right.
And that's where, like, when in this vision... have both. It can. I mean, you can say no, but it can. You've seen...
It should not. It's not
But we've lived in Florida, and we have brackish water. You can actually, in a boat, pull up and see the line that fresh water or salt water and freshwater meet. You can see the line.
Right.
So it's very possible that a source could have both.
Yeah.
So... I am proud of myself for... I'm proud of myself for the heart thoughts I've had, but I'm disappointed in myself for the head thoughts that I've had. And I've said the head thoughts out loud, but I've also said some heart thoughts, like you just repeated them, like, hey, this isn't our source. A job is not our financial income. Like, you know, we've always been provided for.
I could do a better job in helping you help yourself. and helping myself as well, because I've been getting upset with you when you start this, like, and it's not because of what the words you're saying, it's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Because what I hear when you start with, did you ask, that I'm incapable.
You're not doing
I'm
something
incapable
right.
of being a man in my position and running, and it gets me mad. Because,
and that's what's unique about each person, like you just said, when there's an injustice. So it's clear there's been injustices.
Correct.
But what you need and what I need as a response to that or a rectification to that is very different. And this is why if you're an employer,
so you need
to know your employees,
you know
because one employee might just need a, wow, you do a great job affirmation.
I don't need the money.
Another might need the raise. Another might need the vacation. Right. Another was fine with a pizza party.
Right.
Like, so you need to know your employees and know, like, what motivates them to continue working.
And that's the only problem with the uppers. I think they do know their immediate staff, and they're big. They're bigger than they can.
Yeah. Not so big that they don't have a clue who everyone is, but yet I know they didn't know your name for a spell. But anyways, I thought that was a really cool meditation time, because this is the second time I didn't realize when I tapped and said, let's do this one, that I'd already done it. I was like, yeah. So that's why I think that part of me was like, I didn't know I'd have the same one. I'm doing the exact opposite. But both times they had some very powerful, downloads, so to speak.
Another thing that I heard when you said this morning was something that Mary or Lacey said to me. I'm not sure which one, the crazy one.
Lacey.
She said, you have started to go down a path where you're now recognizing your dark side. But there is a learning and there's a value to being on the dark side.
Right.
I mean, because I think sometimes people who are on the bright side, their head's too far in the clouds. They're not grounded. They don't know enough.
It's well. I mean, I think
I've
also.
I've been there. But hey,
I think also you have so much more understanding and patience and like relatability when you've been on the dark side.
Well,
and
it's the yin.
You don't judge the light or the dark, or
it's part of me. And you just said it's there's that fine line in between. It's the
why you're saying that. Did you get their email today for November? Can you just just read today's?
I opened the first page and I started it. Yeah, I did read today's.
So will you read that out loud a second? Because after my meditation, I woke up and I'm like, I have an email.
So just a quick sidebar here so you know what we're talking about. This is a moon mail. This is monthly moon guidance that comes from Team Aquarius. They are astrology coaches, astrology life coaches, which I think is pretty awesome. They are my astrology coaches, and in turn we do a trade and I am their content coach, helping them to build their brand awareness. So check them out at teamaquarius.com and get signed up for their monthly moon mail. Now, back to that reading.
Mercury enters Sagittarius, and
just for today's, read today's.
11-1
okay.
and 11-2 actually.
Yeah.
New moon in Scorpio. Have you read it yet or no?
Yes. I just wanted you to read it again.
New moon in Scorpio, and she has obviously the new moon sign, and then water looks like, and then
I didn't notice the emojis. I never really paid attention to those.
We are kind of down with talking to the spirits with a ghost. Mercury is truth-telling. Sagittarius is feeling a little spiritual. Get the cards read with us, Team Aquarius.
Yeah, I like that. I do like a marketing thing there.
Yeah,
but
your grandmothers will thank us.
I read that after I woke up from this meditation. And I was like, I 100% feel like there was higher self talking to me. And I love that it said, I am you. You are me. We are all. Like, I am my higher self.
I am you. You are me. We are one.
I don't know what you're singing. Always got a song that...
I do.
See, I'm always humming, but if I say something that triggers a song's lyrics for you, you start with your lyrics, which I probably don't recognize them all the time because you sing them off tune.
I am one. So.
He's not even focused. He's still focused. His ADHD brain is still... His ADHD brain is still on the lyrics. Anyways, that's all. I just thought that was really cool. I was going to get up because I got up and remembered the water thing.
I actually specifically remember you
taking a drink last night. I drink every night in the middle of the night, throughout the night. I mean, not having the water by my bed would not be good. I've had it happen before, and I wake up and I'm like, I'm so thirsty. I'm thirsty right now, and I have drank this. So it's definitely probably something I should look into. I just don't care enough to at the moment. But what I was saying was I woke up and was gonna journal, and I was like, I don't want to turn on the light, so I'll just do a meditation.
So yeah, that's it. That's the story. That's the meditation. That's the internal vision that I felt like I had. I hope that it resonates, relates, and possibly just inspires you to have your own breakthrough, however that needs to look for you. Don't forget to hit that like button and also subscribe. And until later, be evolving, people.